Let's hear it from all the married people. Married people, 1, 2, 3. They say marriage is the process of finding out the sort of person your partner would have preferred. Consequently, I've been married twice. Anyone been married twice? 3 times? Yeah? You ever thought it could be you? I mean, or you're just addicted to cake? Is that it? Well, there was a lady in the front row that shouted out the other night, I've been married 4 times. She said, 4 times, and they're all dead. She was sitting next to a very nervous-looking 5th husband at the time, I must admit. I've been married twice. My first marriage didn't work out too well. One night a week, I want to go out with the guys, and the other 6, she did. I met her in show business, my first wife. She was a professional mud wrestler. Mud wrestler, violent temper, lovely skin. I met her at one of her bouts. Her opponent threw her against the ropes and she bounced out and she landed on my lap. I should have known it was never going to work because she was on the rebound. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, President. I thank you. All the single people wish they were married. 1, 2, 3. There you go. All the married people wish they were single. 1, 2, 3. You're in so much trouble now, don't you know? All the men that are great lovers in bed. Yeah! Well done, sir. Well done. Bit premature, though. Didn't do the 1, 2, 3. So... Hey! Slippery. You got sexuality as well. You got to feel sorry for the parents of today. They've got to give their kids. You know, when you're growing up, you give your kids to talk about the birds and the bees. It's much more inclusive now, isn't it? You've got to tell the kids about the birds and the bees, but there's some birds that like being with other birds. So you've got to tell them about the birds and the bees and the birds and the birds, haven't you? And then you've got to tell them about the bees that like being with other bees. So you've got to tell them about the birds and the bees and the birds and the birds and the bees and the bees. And there's some birds that dress up like bees. And some bees that dress up like birds. And there's some birds that actually want to be bees. And there's some bees that want to be birds. And there's some birds that change into bees. And there's some bees that change into birds. And there's some birds that like being birds but wouldn't mind being a bit of a bee. And there's some bees that like being bees, wouldn't mind being bits of a bird. And then there's some ones who don't want to be anything at all, isn't there? And then... So to be all-inclusive, you've got to tell your kids about the birds and the bees, the birds and the birds, the bees and the bees, the birds that change into... No, birds that dress up like bees, the bees that dress up like birds, the birds that want to be bees, the bees that want to be birds, the birds that change into bees, the bees that change into birds, the birds that like being birds but want to be a bit of a bee, the bees that want to be bees and want to be a bit of a bird, and the non-specifics. I was in Antarctica about 3.5 years ago, and that's when I came back. The pandemic struck. It was terrible for all of us, the pandemic, for the cruise industry and everything. So I was out of work for 2 years, ladies and gentlemen, but I didn't let that time slip idly by through all those mask mandates and those lockdowns. What I did was learn a completely new performance skill that I would like to present to you once again tonight. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful art of ventriloquism.
Please give it up for Martin Beaumont. Once again, everyone, show some love, Martin Beaumont. Come on out, Martin. That deserves another round of applause. Absolutely, absolutely.